Shalom, Israel. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. You know what I'm saying? This is the Monday night scripture breakdown class where, you know what I'm saying, we do exactly that. We break down the scripture, something that your Christian pastor is incapable of doing and will never be capable of doing because he is not fit to lead blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans out of the captivity, you know what I'm saying, that we in today. So since 1969, we've been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible. You know what I'm saying? The truth that's going to actually get us out of this captivity, which is following these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High left for us, following our culture and getting away from our oppressors' culture, which your Christian pastor and which your Muslim imams and which your, you know what I'm saying, you name it, you fill in the blank with whatever religion or doctrine that you want to follow. They are leading you into these false, these false religions and to serve these false idols. Whereas in the Most High left us our culture for us to follow so that we can separate from our oppressors. See, your Christian pastor wants to integrate. And that's why we're destroyed. And that's why let's get John chapter 8, verse 44 real quick, Salakia. But that's why Christ said this. It's the book of John chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your fathers ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. This is Christ chastising black, Hispanics, and Native Americans that he was trying to serve. He was trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in his time. And he was trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans exactly what commanding General Yohana and the priests and prophets that he sends out in all these different cities and all these different zones. He's trying to teach you exactly. Christ is right here in John chapter 8, verse 44. He's trying to teach you exactly what commanding General Yohana has been trying to teach. You know what I mean? What, you know what I'm saying, the ISUPK has been trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans since 1969. And what commanding General Yohana picked up and is trying to continue to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. What he has commissioned all these priests that you see in all these zones to do. Right? Up until, you know what I'm saying, current day, present day. And as he's trying to teach these things, he is saying that I'm going to read it from the top again. John chapter 8, verse 44. And Salaki, if you got any questions on or off topic, you go and put them in the chat. Make sure you got your Bibles, you know what I'm saying, your King James 1611 Bible with you, with your Apocrypha. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you got all your learning utensils as we break this down. Saying you hecklers too as well. So you got your questions or your comments, bring it. You know what I'm saying? Bring your comments, bring your questions. And Lord willing, eventually you'll end up in here and you'll learn your culture. You'll learn your true culture and identity, get up out of that world and stop giving yourself excuses. Because that's all that's holding our people back. You know what I mean? You know, what you'll find is that let me read on, Salakia. It says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. Now he's talking to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and he's comparing them he's saying that they are of their father the devil. Who is your father the devil? Who is the devil? The word devil in the scriptures means deceiver. And the number one deceiver in the earth right now today is the so-called white man, our oppressor. That is the devil. That is the number one deceiver in the world today. When Christ is chastising these black and Hispanic and Native American men, the 12 tribes of Israel, he's chastising them and telling them that you are of your father, the devil, meaning you act just like your father, the devil. You act just like the Romans. You act just like the Greeks. You act just like the Ephesians and the Corinthians and the oppressor that surrounds you in the city that you living in. You are of your father, the devil. You are, and just like today, our people act just like our oppressor, the white man. Let's go ahead and read on. He was a murderer from the beginning. Now he's describing all the attributes that belong to your oppressor since the beginning. And we're going to get into it. But he's describing all the attributes that belong to your oppressor. Read it on. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. See, these are attributes that belong to our oppressor. But these are the attributes that we blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans display today amongst one another. And we do it under the guise and under the excuse of Jesus knows, God knows my heart, and God loves this, which is a lie. You know what I'm saying? He knows your heart, and he knows that it's desperately wicked. And we do it under the guise, we follow that, we fit the attributes of our oppressor, and we do it under the excuse of, oh, God knows my heart, and God loves the sinner but hates the sin, which is also a lie, where he hates the sinner and the sin. You know what I mean? And we do it under the guise of, oh, I'm oppressed, and we all, you know what I'm saying, we got mouths to feed, and this, that, and the third. We doing it under all these excuses, or I didn't know. Or what you're gonna find is that if you're looking around, if you're, you know what I'm saying, if you have any wisdom or any intelligence in you, and you see what's going on around you, you see that time is winding up. Let's get Romans chapter 13 real quick. But what you're going to see, if you're paying any amount of attention, if you're paying any amount of attention to what's going on around you, if you're not seduced by the internet and social media and whatever, if you're not seduced by all these things, you start this, you'll see what's going on around you, and you'll realize that time is wrapping up, and all these nations, all these superpowers are being pulled into World War III. And if you know anything about the prophecies of the Bible, you know that World War III is the marker of, is one of the precursors to the being able to identify when, or it's one of the precursors of Christ coming back and us being redeemed from these nations. One of the biggest precursors to us being redeemed out of this hell is for your oppressor's nation to fall. Scriptures say that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that follows. Meaning that Esau is in rulership right now, but once his kingdom comes to an end, then blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the 12 tribes of Israel, which is who Jacob is. Jacob is the progenitor of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So once Esau's kingdom fall, meaning Russia, meaning America, meaning Germany, meaning French, meaning Spain, meaning all these superpowers that you see around you, that you look around and feel like they're mightier than you and you are so inferior to them. Once they fall, once these kingdoms fall in World War III, where they destroy one another, when they start to destroy one another, which you're already seeing and happening in Russia, Ukraine, and in Israel, Palestine, you start to see all these nations come together and war against one another. You starting to see America funding these wars overseas. You know what I mean? You'll see all these nations get roped into World War III. And once they get roped into World War III, they're going to destroy each other. And once they destroy each other, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that follows. So once you start to put two and two together, you start to realize that we're running out of time. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're running out of time to get it together, man. And once, like we always bring out, if you're found with these nations, if you're found joined to these nations, then you're going to be thrust through with these nations. You're going to be destroyed with these nations. Anybody who has, anybody who doesn't have the law, statutes, and commandments sealed in them, in their forehead, then, or anybody who who is caught, you know what I'm saying, displaying the attributes of your oppressor, following their laws and their ideals and doing the things that they coerce you to do through the Christian church and through their politics or whatever the case is, if you're caught doing those things, then you're going to be destroyed. The Lord is going to be looking at you as these nations, and you're going to be destroyed with these nations. So what you're going to realize is time is winding up. And what you'll also find is as time winds up, as you start to see these wars and as you start to see these wars start to grow bigger and more bloody and get more out of hand, as you see these priests and prophets get out there on them street corners and teach, as you see brothers, you know what I'm saying, getting online and trying to grab your attention, you scrolling on TikTok, and we trying to grab your attention out of love and out of brotherhood, trying to teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the true culture and identity according to the Bible, trying to save souls. You'll start to realize that before Christ comes and cracks that sky with 200 million angels under the command of the Most High God, you'll see that the Lord has taken every single excuse from you. And all you're going to be left with is you and what you've done, you and the decisions that you've made. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Because the only thing that keeps Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans from coming into this truth and serving the Most High as he intended, as he commanded us, is the excuses that we give ourselves. But the Most High has taken away those excuses. Where are we at? It's the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So what you got to understand is this is you know what I mean, one of the disciples thousands of years ago saying the exact same thing that we keep repeating and reiterating in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge since 1969. We've been saying this, that it is high time, knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. We go out there on those street corners and tell you to wake up. To wake up and see that your oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. See that these other nations don't love you. See that we need to come together and be one nation and choose one another over these other nations. See that we need to separate from our oppressor and their ideals and their what they say is okay, that offends the Most High, that breaks our law, statutes, and commandments. That's what we've been teaching since 1969. And this is ancient as the Bible. It's right here. It's right here in your face. For thousands of years, we've been telling, the priests and prophets have been sent back into the earth to tell Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to wake up and observe the times, and knowing the times, to realize that it is high time to awake out of sleep. Meaning you don't have much time to piss pedal around with getting in the truth and cleaning yourself up. Because once time is up, then time is up. And the Lord right now, in the midst of World War II swelling in the earth, in the midst of these nations coming together, and all this bloodshed and all this unaliving that's going on in the earth, all this warfare, all this madness that you see in the earth, how you see the LGBTQ community just growing stronger and stronger in America, and all these things. You start to see your brothers and your sisters strung out on drugs in these destitute situations. You start to see brothers and sisters selling drugs at an all-time high. You see that brothers and sisters selling their bodies is the new norm at very young age, the young to the old. You start to see from the young to the old that selling drugs and drug paraphernalia is at an all-time high. It's the norm now. You start to see all these wicked things. You start to see, you know what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying, unaliving one another and committing violent acts against one another becoming the norm. You start to see these police, oppressors police becoming more and more violent and getting paid to do so. And it's becoming the norm. You start to see these things. Those are indicators that it is high time for you to wake out of sleep. It's time for us to wake out of sleep and realize. But as I said before, these, you know what I'm saying, these prophets have been telling, you know what I'm saying, the Lord has been sending his prophets for thousands and thousands of years to tell Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans how to come together, how to love one another, how to separate from our oppressor, how to get it together, how to clean yourself up. And what we've been doing as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is ignoring the prophets. So once the judgment comes, once the judgment comes, we don't have an excuse. We're not going to have an excuse anymore. And we're gonna see exactly what we're talking about. Let's get John chapter 15, verse 18 real quick. This is the book of John chapter 15, verse 18. If the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. Now this is Christ. This is Christ talking to his disciples. And he's saying, if the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. Now, when Christ was teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans how to love one another, you know what I mean? Everybody say that they love Jesus and Jesus. Even if you're not a Christian, you just love Jesus. Brothers walking around with Jesus pieces on, with crosses on, and which is a very disrespectful thing to do. But, you know what I mean? But that's another topic. But we walk around with Jesus pieces on, getting crosses with the prayer hands tattooed all over us and getting crosses tattooed on our face and this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? You got strippers and what do they call them? Sex workers, bottle girls and strippers and OnlyFans models and prostitutes. Before they go out and do that midnight stroll, before they get out there and get naked and dance on that pole, before you go hit that lick and go and take your brother's life or take your brother's belongings, take your brother's goods, take your brother's wife, you praying to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? You getting in a circle, you know what I mean? And you praying that this lick go well, praying that you know what I'm saying, kick in this door and what you think is behind there, all the riches, and you know what I'm saying, you hoping that this kick dog gonna put you on. You hoping that this bank robbery gonna put you on. You hoping that you get out there, you sisters, you get out there on that pole and them brothers just make it rain. You praying there's some ballers out there that's just gonna make it rain on there. You logging into that OnlyFans and you praying that some ballers on there ready to just make it rain on you, or how, I don't know how that work, however it work, but you praying for wickedness. You know what I mean? So everybody claim to love Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You trying to represent Jesus with these these false idols. You know what I mean? And these false representations of Christ, which is really disrespectful to wear that cross. But we get out there and tell you can't do any of those things. You can't kick that brother's dough in. You can't go get out there on that pole. I know it's lucrative, sisters. I know, you know what I'm saying, our brothers is destroyed. And it's so easy to take advantage of a destroyed mind. And, you know what I'm saying, get that money off that brother and sisters, brother. I know it's easy to go out there and take advantage of your sister's destroyed mind, to get out there at that strip club or get out there and on that strip and get you a prostitute for a couple bucks. You know what I mean? Get on that, you know what I mean, whatever the case is, and take advantage of one another. I know it's so easy to take advantage of one another's destroyed minds, but we get out there and teach you that you can't do that. And what happens? You know what I mean? Even down to a father. You know what I mean? We complain about, you know what I'm saying, at the simplest form, we complain about how our father wasn't in the household to guide us and protect us and correct us and love your mother and love you and give you all the things that you needed and wanted. you know what I mean, to encourage you through life. We complain about those things, but to be honest, if you had a father, you would hate him. You would hate your father. And this is the proof right here. Let's read it again. John chapter 15, verse 18. If the world hate you, ye know it hated me before it hated you. This is what Christ is telling his disciples. So the reason why you hate that father, it's not because he was absent. Or the reason why you hate that father that's in your house is because you hate Christ. We hate instruction. We hate because instruction, if you're properly instructed, see, that's the crutch that we lean on. That's the crutch that we lean on as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We lean on, oh, I never had a father, and that's why I'm out here selling this dope. Or I never had a father, so that's why I'm on OnlyFans. Or I'm over here trying to sell feet pictures and all of that. And this is why I get high, because, you know, my father never loved us. And my mother was so abusive. And not to, you know what I mean? I understand, brothers and sisters. I understand how hard that lifestyle is. But, you know what I mean? We have those excuses now because those are the things that we went through. But the Lord sent these priests and prophets out into the earth today. He sent them out. He sent Christ. He sent these 12 disciples out so that you cannot have the excuse of not having a father, not having instruction, not having direction, because we are the father to the fatherless. Commanding General Yohana is the father to the fatherless. He is a righteous judge when you know that if you have a discrepancy between your brother or sister or whatever the case is, your baby mother or baby father or whatever the case is, you can't go to your oppressor because he's not a righteous judge. But the Most High sent Commanding General Yohana to be a righteous judge to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He commissioned his priests and prophets to go out and teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans so that you can have a father, so that you can have some direction. But that's the excuse that we leave. That's the excuse that we use to get high, to be on drugs, to use one another and abuse one another. But the Lord is taking, before Esau's kingdom falls and Christ builds this new kingdom under the command of the Most High, the Lord is taking away any excuse that you could possibly use because he's been sending his priests and prophets out since 1969 to go up against your distractions, go up against these Christian churches, go up against these fake Israelite groups, go up against your Christian pastors, go up against your mother who raised you to be effeminate, brother, or to raise you to be a sexually, sexually promiscuous woman, sisters. He sent your priests and prophets out to feed you, to clothe you if you don't have food or if you don't have clothing, to shelter you if you don't have shelter, to comfort you if you don't have comfort, to guide you. All of these things that we use as an excuse. Oh, I never had this. I never had this. The Lord is sending his priests and prophets out to warn you and to give you all these things that you need. All you got to do is come to class. All you got to do is speak up. All you got to do is call your camp leader, call your captain in your zone. All you got to do is come to class. All you got to do is be consistent and be sincere and serious about cleaning up yourself. Because that's another thing that we do. Like we talk about like, yeah, man, I want to get right. I don't know how many conversations I done had with brothers and sisters. I don't know how many conversations that the priests and prophets or the priests in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge have had with brothers and sisters. Where it's like, yeah, I'm trying to. You know what I'm saying? You can ask any of your family members right now. Ask any of your family members right now how they feel about them cigarettes that they keep smoking. They're like, man, I'm trying to quit. I'm trying to stop. Man. I know it's not good for me. Even down to the food we eat, to the dietary law. You ask them about that pork, like, you know that pork killing you, right? You know them shrimps is sea roaches and sea spiders and them crabs and all of that. You know that that's not good for you. And they gonna be like, I know, I'm trying. You know them, you know that, you know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be up in that strip club. You're not supposed to be doing this, that, and the third. You know you're not supposed to be doing this. Even, you know what I'm saying? You hear it in our rap songs. You know what I'm saying? You hear it in our music. I'm tired of being up in these streets, man. I'm tired of selling drugs, my people. I'm tired of, you know what I'm saying, being on a run, living a life on a run because I done took my brother's life and now my brothers is trying to take my life in return. I'm tired of being on a run for the police. I'm tired of not being able to trust my brothers because I don't know who's out to get what I have because I got it ill-gotten. So, there's no honor amongst thieves. You can ask, you know what I'm saying? Prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? I dare you. I dare blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Ask your brothers. Ask your sisters how they feel about the lifestyle that they live in. Ask them. And they'll tell you exactly what I'm telling you right now. They don't want to do that. No sister want to be living on that, stripping on that pole. No brother want to be, you know what I'm saying, living by the sword like some devil. You know what I mean? Some Edomite who lives by, you know what I'm saying, bloodshed. Our brothers don't want to do that. We just want to dwell at home. You know what I mean? Like the scriptures say, like the scriptures describe our bloodline. We just want to dwell at home and raise our families, man. Have a little something to eat. You know what I mean? And just enjoy company with your brothers and your sisters. So what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? If you ask your brothers and sisters, your aunts and uncles, your grandparents and all of that, even in prison, hell, man, like the you know what I'm saying, the old schools and the prisons, man, they'll tell you like, man, this life ain't worth it. This life ain't the life that you want to live, young blood. That's what they're going to tell you. And if you don't believe me, ask them. Just ask them. They're going to tell you exactly what I'm telling you. But what do? We ignore it. We ignore it because it's fun to get high in the moment. It's fun to believe in every religion or every doctrine that puts us up on a pedestal, that props us up to do every wicked thing and call it okay. It's fun for us to do that. So we don't want to hear that we don't want to hear that you can't get high because you rolling up right now. You don't want to hear that you can't get high. You got a pre-roll, you got a blunt rolled up at the crib waiting on you on the nightstand that you could spark up. You got it waiting for you. You got that heathen woman in your DMs, you know what I mean? And she hot and ready. She ready for you. So you don't want to hear that you can't sleep with these other nations. You don't want to hear that, you know what I'm saying, you need to get up off that pole because you know your rent due and it's some ballers in the club or in the strip club and they ready to throw that paper. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that you can't do OnlyFans and, you know what I mean, you know that thing popular now, like it's a lot of sisters doing it. I'm sure it's lucrative, but you don't want to hear that you can't do that thing that's lucrative and that's destructive to you. But because you know that if you hear those things, then you won't have any excuse. And that's why we hate Christ. That's why we hated Christ. And that's why we hated, read it again. If the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. That's why you hate these priests and prophets. When we get out there on that podium and start teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth, when you see these classes come across your timeline, you ignore it. You know what I mean? Or when you know what I'm saying, you name it. When you see these things, when these priests and prophets try to teach you the truth and tell you that you can't do the things that you know are destructive to you, you hate it because you know that once you get taught these things, that's going to take away the excuse. That's going to take away your excuse to get high, to be an alcoholic. You know what I mean? To be a whore or a whoremonger, to be a prostitute, to be a pimp, to be, you name it, to be a drug dealer, to be a drug lord that makes so glorious, to make look so glorious on TV. You know that excuse is going to be taken away from you. But we here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we're here to remove any excuse that you have so that all there's left is you and your decision. Are you sincere about cleaning up your life? We talk a good game about, you know what I mean, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep living this type of lifestyle. But are you sincere? And we're going to find out whether you're sincere or not when all the excuses are removed from you. And all that's left is you and what you did, the decision that you decided to make. We gonna tell you the decisions that you need to make. Just put that blunt down. Put them cigarettes down. Get up out that Christian church, man. Brother, you can't be a homosexual, man. Or you can't be a part of the LGBTQ community. Neither can you, sis. You can't do those things. You can't unalive you can't take your child's life in your womb. And you can't have more than one sexual partner, sister. And brother, if you sleep with a woman, you got to stay with that woman. You know what I mean? That's what we're going to tell you. Reading on verse 19, if you were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. See, we only get this type of hate. I'm saying these priests and the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is only on the Southern Poverty Law Center listed as a hate group because of this right here. Because the Lord has chosen Commanding General Yohana out of the world to raise up these brothers and sisters, man, to come up out of the world, man. And because he has called the brothers in the ISUPK out of the world, we are hated. We ain't done nothing to nobody. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We ain't out here like the Ku Klux Klan. You know what I mean? Taking brothers' lives and lynching nobody. We ain't out here doing that. You know what I'm saying? We ain't hurt nobody. You know what I mean? Unless it was in self-defense, because we will defend ourselves. This is not the Christian church. But, you know what I mean? We don't hurt nobody. You know what I mean? We just tell the truth. Yet we're hated. It's because of this right here. And this is why brothers and sisters are so scared to come in the truth. Because you know what we saying is correct. I've never heard anybody outside of the truth say that what we saying is incorrect. Or I hear it all the time. But if you have the courage and the sincerity to actually come and ask your questions, then we can have a conversation and then you'll find out the truth and you'll find out that what we're saying is 100% correct. But if you're just a heckler and you just talking your trash online or you just talking your trash from a distance, then, you know what I mean, you just going to believe what you believe and, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case is, and you just a prop at that point. But anybody who's sincere and actually comes to class, asks questions, and has ever sat in these walls, you know what I mean, and learned, you know what I mean, from these scriptures, and has been taught appropriately in order, in decency and order, and went through the proper channels, went through the straight gate, right, and sat in here for any amount of time. I've never heard anybody say that what we saying is false and what we saying is untrue and what we saying is destructive and we a hate group or any of those things. I've never heard that. So why are we so hated? You know what I mean? It's not because what we saying is untrue. Or not what we saying is insincere, or what we saying is just untrue. It's not because of that. It's because of what verse 19 said. If ye were of the world would love his own. That's why brothers and sisters want to stay in the world. And even though we give them no excuse, brothers and sisters will make an excuse anyway. Because we know that once you leave the world, once you leave that Christian church, your family is going to hate you. Once you comb out them locks, them dreadlocks, and actually get the locks described in the Bible, makal in the Hebrew, which are braids, a ringlet of hair weaved over one to another, that's a lock. But once you comb out those dreadlocks, those matted, twisted up locks, and you wear your hair woolly like this, or you wear braids, you grow your beard out, your family is going to hate you. Once you stand on these law, statutes, and commandments and teach your family, your wives, your sons, your daughters, your aunts and your uncles, these law, statutes, and commandments, they're going to hate you. You know what I mean? So what do brothers do? What do sisters do? They stay in the world. Not because what we're saying is wrong, but because you know that once you actually put on this culture and you actually step into this culture and take off your oppressor's culture, the world is going to hate you. And we so consumed with trying to be loved by the world that we hate and we reject the truth, man. Read it again. If you were of the world would love his own. We too busy trying to be of the world. And that's why we read what we read previously in John chapter 8, verse 44. You're of your father, the devil, because you are trying to be loved by the world. That's the simple truth. That's why we just celebrated Thanksgiving, knowing the history behind that. That's why we celebrate Christmas. That's why we gearing up to celebrate Thanksgiving. This brothers, grown men out here counting down the days for Santa Claus. That is crazy. But even though it don't make sense to you, even though it don't make sense to me, our brothers and sisters still follow into that culture, and we still do those things because we want to be loved by the world. But because you're not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. That's what happens. And that's what you got to understand. That's what you got to understand, black man, Hispanic man, and Native American man. This is not easy. It's not easy to serve the Lord in the midst of your enemies who want to keep you destroyed. Because your enemies, you know what I'm saying, all these other nations around you, like it says in Judah chapter 5, you know what I mean? You read that chapter, you'll start to see that these nations, you know what I mean? These nations understand very well that if we're following the law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High is going to be with us. But if we don't follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, then that opens the door for them to be able to infiltrate us and to be able to destroy us and be able to overtake us and to put themselves over us. Right? So they understand very well, you know what I'm saying, the gravity that serving the Most High in entirety, what that holds. So they're going to do everything and put everything in your face so that you don't serve the Lord, so that you choose the world, like we just read. But so I know it's hard. I know it's hard to serve the Lord, you know what I'm saying, in the midst of your enemies who want to keep you down and destroy. They don't want to give up their position over you and serve you. All right. But so I know it's hard, but this is the life that we got to choose because, again, time is winding up. Time is winding up and it's getting very, you know what I'm saying, it's getting very close to being too late. You know what I'm saying? It's already damn near too late. You know what I mean? But it's getting very close to, you know what I'm saying, these doors closing. Right? Let's get Salakia. And what I want you to, let's get Matthew chapter 23, because what I want you to understand is Salakia, before we get that. Salakia. Let's get Matthew chapter 23, verse 29. Because again, everybody loves Christ. Everybody say that they love Christ and this, that, and the third, and yeah, Jesus that, and you know what I'm saying? Everybody believes in a higher power, you know what I mean? And no matter what in whatever twisted way, you know what I mean? Everybody believes in a higher power. Everybody believes in the Most High. Everybody believes in Christ and appreciates or claims to appreciate the sacrifice of his life for, you know what I'm saying, our wrongdoings, for our sins, right? But this is the reality about how we love Christ, about how blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans as a nation love Christ. I mean, when I say how we love Christ, all right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 29. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. See, this is what we do. So we build the, you know what I'm saying? How many Christian churches do you see on every street corner? You know what I mean? They got Caucasian Jesus propped up and all dipped in gold and glistening and looking all just, you know what I'm saying, all displayed huge in the church. You got the pews, you know what I mean, looking all nice and polished. You got these big old synagogues and all of that. Look at these Christian churches. You got the building, just saw these gigantic mega churches. And these Christian churches, they read from the New Testament. They read, they lean on the New Testament to back up their twisted breakdown of the scriptures. And they go to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They go to the New Testament and just twist it on up. You know what I mean? They try to put on the facade that Christ died for everybody and that he loves everybody and that the law is done away with, and then gain is godliness. They teach you all these things, right? This is what we do. And he's talking to, again, Christ is chastising blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He's chastising the aristocracy at that time, which was the Pharisee and the Sadducees, man. But today, that is your Christian church. That's your Christian pastor. That is your the black people who decide to, lead our brothers and sisters into being a Muslim, being Hindu, and being all these different indoctrinations. You know what I mean? That's your TD Jakes. That's your Creflo Dollar. That's your Eddie Long. That's your, you name it, your Christian pastor, your local Christian pastor. Because every black family has a brother or sister, which is completely out of pocket, trying to claim that they a Christian, that they a Christian pastor, right? So every black family has one. You know what I mean? This is who this is talking about. Right, it says, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. You know what I mean? So you boosting up the prophets. You like this, that, and the third. You boosting them up. Like you believe every word that they say, right? And you claim to teach and follow them. And that's you, the new prophet. That's because you follow them, right? Verse 30. And say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. See, what black, Hispanic, and Native American, I dare you, again, to ask any of these, your Christian pastors or your aunties or your uncles or your cousins and be like, man, if you would have seen Christ, going up to get slain on that cross, if you'd have seen somebody whooping Christ with that scourge, with them whips, you know what I mean? Driving nails through his hands and feet, you know what I mean? Pressing that crown of thorns and humiliating him, spitting on him, sticking a spear in him, what would you have done? And any black, Hispanic, and Native American brother and sister, they would have been like, hey, look, we would have handled that. What happened what happened at the Montgomery Riverboat? What was every black, Hispanic, and Native American saying in that time? Or at that time? They was like, they said, we not our ancestors. We not, this is not the, this is not the 1600s and the 1700s and the 1800s and the the 1900s where we were slaves. You know what I mean? Which is, well, that's another topic, Salakia. But, that's what brothers and sisters were saying. You saw that brother throw his hat up on that Montgomery Riverboat, and you saw that brother dive into that water when it's common knowledge that black people don't swim, black people don't like water. You saw that young brother dive into that water, swim on over there, hop out of that water, you know what I mean? Start clocking in, boy, on them Edomites. We got inspired with that, which is rightfully so, because we should come together when we see black people get, oppressed wrongfully by our oppressor. When we see our oppressors start to try to commit violent acts against our brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? We should come together and defend one another and stand together as a nation. But that's what brothers and sisters like to say. We like to say, man, if I was on that, man, if I'd have seen Christ, if I was on that boat, that's what they was on in that Montgomery Riverboat fight. You know what I mean? They were like, man, if I was on that boat, boy, man, I would have done this, that, and the third. We always like to talk about what we would have did. And we did the same thing. We did the same thing back here. This is what we're reading about in Matthew 23. I'm going to read again. Verse 30. and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Meaning these brothers and sisters, like, look, if I'd have been back there, you know what I mean, with Christ, if I'd have been back in the times of the prophets, you know what I mean, I wouldn't have, when Christ was up on the, you know what I'm saying, getting offered up to be crucified, and our Black, Hispanic, and Native American brothers before the nation, before the Romans said, crucify him to Christ, we all would have been like, nah, if I was back there, I would have spoke up for Christ. I would have defended Christ. I would have helped him carry that cross. And now the bobbity, I would have been so this, that, and the third. Shut up. You wouldn't have did nothing. And it's right here. We've been saying the same things. And you know how I know? You know how we know that you wouldn't have did a damn thing? Because when these priests and prophets come out and tell you the law, statutes, and commandments, we teach you the truth according to the Bible. We teach you your true culture and identity according to the Bible. We get vilified. The priests and prophets have always been vilified and hated and ridiculed and chased city to city to be, to be persecuted. You know what I mean? By who? By our own people. And it happened then, and it happens today. You know what I mean? We're going to get into it. We're going to get a lot more because it's all through these scriptures. What you got to understand is we think that we weren't these people. We think that we don't have any ties to this Bible. That was a long time ago. Yeah, them priests and prophets is dead. Those people back then, they dead. It's a new day. No, we were these people. You think those people stop having children and their children stop having children and stop having children? You think all of them, we're the descendants of these people. And just like back then, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans offered Christ up to be vilified and ridiculed and crucified before the Romans, that's exactly what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans do to the priests and prophets in the ISUPK. That's exactly what happens because we tell the truth. Salaki, verse 31, wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. That's exactly what I just broke down. These prophets, you know what I'm saying? These people in the Bible aren't, you know what I'm saying, dead and gone. You know what I mean? Like we say, like, oh yeah, them people, that's just that was them. No, you are the children. You are the children's children of the same people who offered Christ up and said, crucify him, even though he was an innocent man. You know why? Why did they hate Christ? Because Christ took away the excuse. He was taking away the excuse. He was teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans how to love one another and come together. He was teaching brothers and sisters that your oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, and you should never trust him, that you should separate from them, and that the covenant and the promises and the, you know what I mean, all of that belongs to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And that the Most High loves Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what he was teaching back then, and he was vilified. And that's exactly what happens today. You see what happened, you know what I mean, when Kyrie got on one knee, or slack it, when Kyrie was talking all that Israelite stuff, he had the headband with the Dawadah in the middle, and he was saying the Jews is black. He was getting vilified. And nobody spoke up, you know what I'm saying? Nobody spoke up for, you know what I mean, brothers who actually stand up against Black, Hispanic, and Native American oppression. Or when, you know what I mean, when Colin Kaepernick got on one knee, you know what I'm saying? These brothers, you know what I'm saying, they just celebrities. They not leaders by any means. They just, you know what I'm saying, they celebrities. They athletes. They're not trained up to do this job. But point is, when these brothers, you know what I mean, did what they thought was right, all they could think to do, because when you're not trained to do something, you just go in the moment, just do what you think that you can do, right? So these brothers, you know what I mean, they speaking out and they saying the Jews is black. Kanye saying the Jews is black, and Colin Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying, during the time where the police force unaliving Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans was very popular. very popular in the media because it's always happening, but it was in our faces when brothers and sisters was protesting and marching in the streets. Nobody stood up for Colin Kaepernick. Nobody got together for Colin Kaepernick. But you know what we did get together for? We got together to fund a GoFundMe for some Hamites, some so-called African women who scammed blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans at the expense of black men's integrity. That's what we did do. We are funding OnlyFans models. That's what we did do. We are funding the strip clubs. That's what we did do. We did stand up for women's right to unalive children that they, that they chose to have or not prepare for. We did do that. But when it comes to supporting the truth, when it comes to supporting blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and speaking up and speaking out against the oppression and the poverty and all of that we face in this nation, we don't band together for that. But the Lord is taking away your excuse. Right now, as we're reading, let's get some more. Verse 33. Ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell? He said, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers. See, the serpent in the garden was a man with this lying spirit, the lying, conniving spirit of your oppressor. The same devil that he compared blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to in John chapter 8, verse 44, when he said, ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. And he's saying, ye serpents, ye generations of vipers, man. So now he's not talking about just the men standing in front of him, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in front of him, vilifying them, you know what I mean, running them from city to city, trying to take his life. He's talking about the generation before, and you can tell by what we read in verse 31. Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. He's talking about generations. And this same generation of vipers keeps coming back in the earth and doing the same thing that they did in the days of old. So you claim that you love blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and you so woke, right? No, you are doing the exact same thing you've always done. You have chosen to hang on to your excuse when there has been no excuse. You'll get high because you didn't have a father, but you got brothers teaching you the truth. And being that you got Commanding General Yohana being a father to the fatherless, you know what I mean? And we still choose to get high. You got brothers week in and week out, every day of the week, putting these classes out, you know what I mean? Going to where you at. Cause you know what I'm saying? You walk right past brothers on that street corner, you know what I mean? Looking crazy, yelling at you, right? What the hell? But you, Salakia, when you walk past them priests and prophets on the street corner, you know what I mean? You walk past them priests and prophets on the street corner outside teaching you, you know what I mean? So we took to the internet. We take to the internet, make reels, TikToks, shorts, we're doing classes like we're doing right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X, I guess formerly known as Twitter. We on all the platforms, Fanbase, Clubhouse. What else? If I missed out on anything, we on Spotify and YouTube making music. You know what I mean? Trying to reach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We going to where you at. You know what I mean? And we getting vilified anyway. So it's not that you have an excuse. It's that you're hearing the truth and you're choosing these excuses. You're choosing to lean on the fact that, oh, my father was this, or my father treated me like this, or my mother treated me like this, or I never had an opportunity, and this, that, and the third, and you know what I'm saying? No matter what, the oppressor is going to be the oppressor. He's just going to keep on unaliving us, and this, that, and the third. We using these excuses when you don't have an excuse. Because we telling you exactly what to do. We got a refuge in here, in these walls. All you got to do is call a number. And you have a brother if you out there in the world, you know what I mean, you have a brother in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge who is a priest, who is a young man, who is a trooper, who is a officer, who is a captain. You know what I mean? You have a brother in the truth. You have a cousin in the truth. You have an auntie in the aunt or uncle in the truth. You have a niece or a nephew in the truth, trying to reach out to you and teach you the truth according to the Bible. Teach you the truth according to your culture and identity that you so desperately claim that you want so bad. You have them right here. And if you don't have those things, if you don't have a father, you don't have a brother, you don't have a this, that, and the third mother, they're right here for you. They'll be a mother to the motherless, a father to the fatherless. You don't have an excuse. And once you run out of excuses, you have nothing left but to swallow the pill, swallow the fact that you are this generation of vipers who keeps coming back in the earth and doing the exact same thing that Christ is talking about right here. Verse 34. Okay, we got a question in the chat. Let me see. It says, Salaki, sir, can you break down do unto others as do unto you? Okay, so let's see. So that scripture is a brotherhood scripture. Let me see. Just for, you know what I'm saying, just to break it down real quick. I don't know if, unless you want me to pull it and read it, but I can just break it down real quick. That scripture is a brotherhood scripture. It's talking about treating your brother how you would want to be treated. So, for example, if you have a wife or wives, you don't want any brother trying to sleep with any of your wives. You don't even, and that's so heavy because Christ increased the law. So you don't even got to get to the point where a brother is sleeping with your wife or wives. You don't want a brother eyeballing, you know what I'm saying? You don't want your brother staring your wives down, just undressing them with their eyes and just talking, just looking like, you don't want no brother to do that to you. And sisters, you know what I mean? You don't want nobody, you don't want your sisters to hate on you and envy you, to tear you down, to talk bad behind your back, to gossip about you. You know what I mean? You don't want your sister trying to steal from you, trying to do harm to you. You don't want this, that, and the third. You don't want anybody to do harm to your children or your family. You don't want these things, right? So don't do those things to your brothers, your sisters. That's all that scripture means. All right. I hope that answered your question, sister. And let me know if you need a little bit more. But let's get back to Matthew chapter 23. Where was we at? But Christ is taking away your excuse by increasing he increased the law, you know what I'm saying, while he was teaching, so that you can further have no excuse, like the sister just brought out, because it's literally that simple. The law, statutes, and commandments is a system that the Most High put in place so that we don't offend one another. So that we know how to love one another, so that we know how to deal with certain situations, so that we can learn how to judge certain situations righteously, so that we don't do anything to harm ourselves. That's what the dietary law is for. That's why you can't get high. That's why you can't smoke cigarettes. All of those things in the law, so that you can treat your brother how you would want to be treated. You know what I mean? You don't want to see your brother, your uncle, your cousin, your auntie, you know what I mean, constantly, you know what I'm saying, having to go to funeral after funeral, you know what I mean, because your auntie, you know what I mean, won't put down the pork, won't put down the shrimp, and her leg blowing up like a balloon because she got, what's that called? She got, you know what I mean, that hypertension, you know what I mean? Or your uncle, now he locked up because he was selling drugs, or he was doing all this crime, or now he OD'd because he was a drug addict. Or you don't want to see those things. So the whole law is based around, like Christ said, it hangs on loving the Most High, which is following his law, statutes, and commandments. That's how you love the Most High, and loving your brother, right? That's what the whole law is. And loving your brother is treating your brother like you would want to be treated. So with everything that Christ did, he done took away all the excuses that you could possibly have. So now all that's left is for you to realize that it's you. You are the problem. The reason behind your drug addiction the root cause of it may be your childhood and your oppression and your whatever you go through in your life. It might be the root cause of it or how it started. But once somebody puts a solution in front of you, like Commander General Yohana did in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, once somebody puts a solution in front of you, where your camp leader is saying, call me for counsel, blow my phone up day and night, where the officers around you, can direct you to, where the nearest school is in your zone. Or, your captain, Commander General Yohana is teaching scripture breakdown right now. And he answers all your questions. He solves all your problems. And I'm sure he's answering phone calls day and night from brothers, giving solutions. So the answer is here. You know what I mean? And you see Commanding General Yohana, he's doing lectures, city to city, state to state, and, putting out classes and doing his Black Watch. We're keeping you up to date with the world news and all of that. The excuses, you don't have an excuse anymore. Now, reality is being put dead in your face. It's not you didn't have a father. It's not that you didn't have a mother. It's not that you oppressed, and it's not that you just so it's not that you poor or any of the excuses. Insert whatever excuse. Give me your best excuse. Anybody in the chat, give me your best excuse. But it's not any of those things. It's that you are you're choosing not to serve the Lord and follow. Realize that it's you, then you can start to change. You can start to change and separate yourself from this generation of vipers. Verse 34, back in the book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 34. Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify. And some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues and persecute them from city to city. See, this is what happens to the priests and prophets. We get out there because you begging for an answer. You begging, oh man, I need to get up off these drugs, man. I need to get up off these cigarettes. I just want to find a place for my family to be able to learn. What's the wave for black people? Man? I'm trying to be woke, man. I'm trying to figure out what was our culture and identity before the slave ships. We desperate until the answer's right here in your face. We telling you, this is our culture and identity. We had a dietary law, which is in the Bible. We had laws on how we dealt with brothers and dealt with sisters, how we dealt with husbands and wives, how we dealt with our children and how children should deal with their parents. We got laws on how to deal with civil matters. We have laws on how to deal with these nations that oppress us and how to separate from them. We got stories and biblical story examples of what happens when you apply these things and when you don't apply them. Scriptures say in Romans, I believe that these the things written aforetime are written for our learning, so that patience and faith through the scriptures we might have hope. As what these scriptures are for, we got these stories that outline what happens when we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, and what happens when we don't follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. So we don't have an excuse. It's all right here. So the only excuse is the decision that you make after you find the truth and what you do with it. You know that this is wrong. You know that the scriptures say this about this. If you don't know, if you're not sure, because the scriptures also say, not to hop around too much, but the scriptures also say, do nothing without counsel. Meaning, if you're not sure, or even if you think you're sure, Get counsel anywhere. That's why we got camp leaders and captains. All right. That's why we got officers of 5,000 and officers of 1,000 and officers of 50s and officers of 500. And that's why we got this rank structure so that you can ask somebody like, look, I was thinking about doing this. What does the scripture say about this? Or how should I do this? Because I got this situation going on and this is happening. And I'm dealing with this problem. What should I do? And they're going to direct you to somebody who has the answer. Or they're going to give you an answer in decency and order. All right, because not everybody has the gift to give counsel. It's not everybody is authorized to give counsel. So I'm not saying, you know what I mean, just go to just any old officer, you know what I mean, and get counsel. But what you can do is ask that brother what you should do, and he's going to direct you to somebody who is authorized to give counsel and authorized to do certain things. And once you stay in decency and order, you'll have your answer. So what's your excuse? Black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. Let's see. And this is what happened. It said, wherefore, behold, I sent unto you prophets, like I just talked about. He sent us prophets to solve all our problems. And wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify. So we claim to want these answers. We claim to want this guidance. We claim to want fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers and all of that. And the Lord sent them to you. They're right here in the ISUPK. And what happens? Some of them ye shall kill and crucify. Some of them ye shall scourge in your synagogue and persecute them from city to city. That's what we do. So once Christ comes back, you're not going to have no excuse because he gave you these prophets and these wise men and these scribes. And you persecuted them. We persecute them, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, man. Verse 35, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachias, whom ye slew between the temple and the altar. So from Abel all the way to Baruch, and Zechariah, to Christ, to all the prophets in between, that's what we've been doing. So you saying that you want these, you want this lifestyle, you want this, you know what I mean, this wisdom, you want to set yourself apart, because that's what we always want. We want to be woke. We want to be woker than the next woke brother. We want to be more woke than the last woke sister. You know what I mean? But the wisdom of the Most High is right here in your face, wearing a shield of David in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge with fringes that sweep the flow with these covers on. You know what I mean? And we get persecuted from city to city. So lucky. I'm going to show you an example. Salakia. Show you an example. I'll show you a couple examples, actually. So this is from, you know what I'm saying, a short. And this is, you know what I'm saying, this is what I was talking about earlier. Salakia. This is what I was talking about earlier. That, you know what I mean, when brothers even look like they, you know what I mean, when brothers even look like they trying to put on some courage to, what the heck? When brothers even looking like they trying to put on some courage and try to, you know what I mean, change their life and try to, you know what I mean, try to have some sort of wisdom. Even when, you know what I mean, even when brothers do that, all right, this is a good example. I just want y'all to hear this. It's like, I'm trying to side by side it, but, you know, I'm lock you. Bear with me 1 second. No sweat. And just listen to this real quick.
Has some truth to it. It's just the delivery. Everything that you're saying has some truth to it. It's just the delivery. Here's the thing.
Now listen to this is the excuse that this is a great and final excuse that we tend to give for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Good night. Lucky. But this is the excuse that we tend to give ourselves, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, man. When you run out of every excuse, I didn't have a father. You got fathers right here in the ISUPK. Oh, I didn't have a mother. You got mothers right here in the ISUPK. Oh, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? We being oppressed, you know what I'm saying? Scriptures say separate from your oppressor, man. And we supposed to build the kingdom of heaven right here by following these laws, statutes, and commandments, loving one another. Oh, I don't, this, that, and the third. We got counseling programs. If you're an alcoholic, we got an alcoholism program. We got, you know what I'm saying, you locked up in prison. We got a prison program. I mean, whatever the case is, name your excuse. We got the answer for it. But this is the final excuse. The final excuse is the delivery. Well, what y'all saying, and this is what happens. This is what I hear most of the time in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, right? It's like, oh, what y'all saying is real. What y'all saying is the truth. But it's just y'all delivery. We're gonna find out what you really, the truth about how you feel about the delivery. Let's keep watching this real quick. And again, this brother in the world, you know what I mean? So you got to take this with a grain of salt. But the message is heavy, and I'm going to break it down.
When you addressing evil, you can't worry about the delivery. When you looking at the conditions of our community, you can't worry about the evil when you got kids that kill kids and say we smoking on too. They wasn't worried about the delivery. I ain't got no manners for no slut. I'm gonna put my thumb in the delivery. Thug said, I shot at your mama, you don't mention me no more. He really shot that nigga mama, and y'all worried about my delivery. These niggas are confessing to murders on Zoom, and y'all worried about my delivery?
Everything that you...
See, this is what happens when the truth, especially in when the truth of the Bible starts to come out. When the truth of the Bible starts to come out, or, you know what I'm saying, when a brother, any brother, you know what I mean, you complaining about how brothers ain't strong, you know what I'm saying, strong, they not educated, they not in the household, they don't have the courage to speak up against certain wrongdoings and atrocities and things like that. Brothers start to try to step into their masculinity, and this is what happens. A brother is like, it's your delivery. It's your delivery. And you see, that came from a brother. That came, what was that, Cam Newton? There's a brother saying that. It's just the delivery. Imagine that. A grown man telling another grown man, yeah, what you saying is right, but it's just your delivery. You talking too masculine. That's really what that means. It's just too masculine. Speak to me soft things. Prophesy lies. Prophesy deceits and sweet things. Imagine being a grown man and saying, "Are you talking too rough?" Imagine that. That is so effeminate. But that's the spirit that we in. Every Black, Hispanic, and Native American who is not under this banner, because the delivery, every fake Israelite group that started, who broke out of One West and started their own thing and is destroying our people, having our people locked up innocently, nasty, dirty, nasty Nate, you know what I mean? Starting these fake Israelite groups, you know what I mean? Telling people that you can sleep with sleep with children, you know what I mean? These fake Israelite groups, man. Everybody who broke out of One West and started doing their own thing, every individualite who refuses to come in here because you could just teach yourself, you in that same spirit. You in that same feminine spirit that Cam Newton was in. And when he said, oh, it's just a lot of the stuff you be saying is true, but it's just your delivery. You talking too masculine. Ain't you an ex-football player? Didn't you get your money from cracking heads open and not cracking heads open, Salakia, but knocking brothers over, you know what I mean? Didn't you make Didn't you make millions, you know what I mean? In this contact sport, you know what I mean? Dedicating your life to your physique and your athleticism. You know what I mean? Don't brothers go to the military and take that drill sergeant yelling in your face? Don't brothers, you know what I mean, go serve their country and get, you know what I'm saying, get their limbs blown off and come back and and suffer all of those things that you experience in warfare? Don't you do that? You didn't leave the military because of the money. You didn't leave the NFL because of the money, because they was talking to, their delivery was messed up. You didn't leave the police force because their delivery was messed up. You don't leave that Christian church because their delivery is messed up. But the Lord put the priests and prophets in front of you and speak a little bit of truth. And now the delivery, it's the delivery. That's why I left and put on purple. Man, give me a break. Give me a break. So now that excuse is gone. It's not the delivery. It's because the sacrifice that you got to make. And you don't want to make that sacrifice. It's not the delivery. Just like it's not you not having a father. It's not you not having a mother. It's not the brotherhood. It's not none of that. It's you. It's you. Let's get another video real quick. Salakia. And I wish I could I got to figure out how to put this side by side. But no sweat. I want to show y'all another video real quick. All right. Now, this is a famous video. I mean, a Captain Tazariak. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know, if you know anything about the ISUPK, you know about Captain Tazariak and how you get down. But I'm gonna let the video speak for itself. You know what I mean? This is Captain Tazariak at an interview, and he's, you know what I'm saying, breaking down something to a brother. He's correcting a brother in brotherhood. You know what I mean? He's correcting his brother out of love and brotherhood for this brother. And this is what happens, and this is how despicable and diabolical your Christian church is. Go ahead, let's watch this real quick.
Plays black people. Black people, the minute they want to justify sleeping with another race, they want to point out our problems. And it's so easy to vilify black men and black women and get away with it. I'm going to use this as an example. That brother in Texas, that Haitian, that West Indian brother in Texas that got shot by that Dallas cop. Y'all familiar with that story? You're not familiar? In Dallas, Texas, this white woman was able to say that she went into the wrong house by accident. Shot and killed the brother in his own house, right? And you know what they did? They said, we found weed in his house. Yep. What does the weed in his house have to do with the crime of what the white woman did to him? Has nothing to do with it. But you know what the theme is? When you point out white problems, point out black problems. I'm sitting there trying to show you how to have honor for your race, and you want to degrade your race by pointing out the problems that we have, as if I said we don't. Why do you think we're on a corner? To stop rapists, to stop pedophilia, to stop drug dealers, to stop murder, to stop all the problems that we have. And one of the biggest problems we have is integration. When you look at the statistics before integration, our families was together. Our marriages was together. Our houses was together. In 1963, the most married couple in America was black men and black women. You know what destroyed it? Integration. Our children was able to see a mother and father in the house together. You know why they can't see it? Integration. Because you want to stick your penis in a white box, as if a white box is better than a black one. Are you kidding me? Don't be a pet, Op. And don't make the excuse of black problems be the justification for sleeping with another race. You're just a traitor. All right? All right, no sweat. I got... Yeah.
Salakia. So you see, I want you to pay attention to something, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I want you to understand. I want you to pay attention to how succinct he was and how he corrected his brother. First of all, he was brotherly. He might have been loud and aggressive with him, because we are aggressive with our sins. We aggressive with what we do when we downtrodden. You know what I mean? When you downtrodden, you discover that weed, you are aggressive with that. Nobody could take that weed from you. Nobody could take that hair, or whatever the case is, them cigarettes, even though you yourself don't even want to do it. You are aggressive with the things that you hold on to in this world. So we have to be aggressive, but it's brotherly. You see how he might have been raising his voice, but he was very succinct in his information. He was very brotherly in correcting and chastising that brother. He brought out facts and information. He did not once talk about how he felt. He said, these are the facts. This is what happened. This is what put us in this situation. This is how we act today. And this is what you need to do. He brought out the facts and was very brotherly with it. Now, this is the difference between, this is what happens in a Christian church. And this is what we get seduced by. Because watch this real quick.
I just need to run. Yeah.
And here we go. Look at us. Look at us right here. We just got us some Christians just can't help themselves. She just gotta run, right? She just gotta say what she gotta say on her poor little Christian heart. She just got to. She just heard all of that this brother done said, like nothing that he said, and you're gonna see how the Christian church does the Christian shuffle. You know what I mean? They don't listen to nothing that you saying. They don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't bring out no facts. They don't break down no scriptures. They don't have no solutions for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? But they just gotta say what's on their heart. They just gotta say how they feel, right? Let's see what this sister say, man. Bless her little poor Christian heart.
I gotta go to work. Well, you can come over there. You can go right there. They're gonna be right there.
I just need to make a comment. I don't need to ask a question. I think fundamentally speaking.
Salakia, just listen to how arrogant that was. She say, "Oh, I don't have to. I ain't got no question. I just want to make a comment. I don't have no question." Like, that's so arrogant. Like, she just want to make a comment. Now, this brother, Captain Tazariak, he done broke down the facts, the history, the biblical history, the American history. He done broke down the condition of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today, the history of our integration and how it affect black people. He done broke down the psychology behind it. He didn't you know what I'm saying? Brothers know that Captain Tazariak is a very seasoned brother. And then here go, listen to the difference between the priests and prophets that are raised up in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge and the Christian church.
Everything starts from within ourselves and our home. I think fundamentally speaking,
don't make the excuse of black problems.
I gotta go to work. Well, you can come over there. You can go right there. They're gonna be right there.
I just need to make a comment. I don't need to ask a question. I think fundamentally speaking.
Now look, this sister, bless her heart, you know what I mean? This sister said, I don't need to ask a question, I just want to make a comment and skedaddle. You know what I mean? And then the first thing she says is, I think, she didn't bring out no facts. She didn't start out with notice Captain Tazariak didn't say, I think that the black household need to do this, that, and the third, or this, that. He didn't say that. But in her arrogance, she said, I don't need to ask a question. I just want to make a comment. And then she started to talk about how she feels. That's why blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans petitioned for Christ to be crucified. Because of how they feel. Because how you feel when you have no intention of changing your life, when you have no intention of being a new creature, being a better person, when you have no intention of changing your life and being somebody who, you know what I'm saying, who is properly raised up to help change brothers and sisters' lives, when you have no intention on putting down your lust, you start to talk about how you feel. And that's all you can talk about, because that's the only excuse that you can have is how you feel. But once you face the truth and accept it for what it is, well, once you hear the truth, you don't got to accept it or face it. Once you hear the truth, you don't have no more excuses, because all your problems can be solved right here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. All your problems can be solved right here if you just follow the instructions. if you just get the counsel, if you just come to class, if you come here with sincerity and admit that your life is hell on this earth and that you need better, you need a family. Once you admit that your life is hell and you put down on those excuses, you'll realize that all your answers are right here. But when you're a Christian and you have no sincerity in you, there's no truth in you, then you're going to talk a lot about how you feel.
Speaking, everything starts from within ourselves and our home. I'm not about this. I don't play the race card. I play the love card because God said we must love one another.
I need you to show me where he say that too.
Well, in the Bible, Jesus said, above all things, love one another. Okay, so
who was he talking to and who was he talking about?
I'm not gonna.
Now look, this brother Sidenetter, this is a funny brother. This brother is asking, he is grilling her. He like, cause she talking a lot about how she feel. And he like, where'd I say that in the Bible? And who is he talking to? He's asking her. He's asking a question. So if there was any sincerity in her, if she really knew what she was talking about, she's like, we in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we don't mind asking questions. Even if you're not sincere, we will answer your questions. We will cut you to piss until you submit to the Lord. And you have no excuse but to come in and serve the Lord and change your life and put down that blunt. We will talk to you, converse with you, and chop it up with you. We will battle you until you submit to the Most High and put down all the things that's making your life hell and keeping you in hell and keeping your people in hell. We will do it. But this is just this shows you the difference between the spirit between the Christian church and, you know what I mean, a generation of vipers and the brothers in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. And you see what she say. Look at what she say. Salakia.
I'm going to go into all of that, but what I don't have the I don't have the time for all that. But what I'm trying to say is,
who was he talking about?
I'm not going to go into all of that. But what I don't have the time for all that. But what I'm trying to say.
That's crazy. She sure got time to run her mouth and talk about how she feel and what she think God is all love and this, that, and the third. And I think she got all the time to talk about what she think and what she feel and the lies that she's been taught in Christianity. But when a brother got a question, when a brother need answers, she ain't got no answers. She like, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to get into it. But what I want to say is that's the Christian church. And that's where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans get our excuses from. We got our excuses from the Christian church. Because they don't teach us the truth. They teach us to follow after our lusts. They teach us that no matter what we do, the Most High loves the sinner and hates the sin. So do you know what that teaches us? To commit sin, to keep on offending one another, to keep on robbing one another, to keep on sleeping with one another's wives, to keep on the Christian church, to keep on abusing your children, to keep on being part of the LGBTQ community like the IUIC, to keep on doing all these things. That's what your Christian church teaches you. They give you an excuse as long as you pay that money. As long as you put that money in that bucket every time they pass it around. As long as you keep your Christian pastor in that Rolls Royce and that Maybach and you keep his lights on, even though your light's about to get cut off, as long as you keep his lights on, they're going to tell you how they feel and they're going to validate your feelings so that you can continue in your sin, so that you can trade the kingdom of heaven, which is brotherhood, brothers ruling the earth. You can trade brothers ruling the earth for getting high. That's what your Christian church is going to do. But we in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we're going to take away all your excuses so that all you faced with is the decision that you're going to make. This is the truth. You either adhere to the truth or continue to do what you've been doing and continue to suffer in the hell that you've been suffering in as a black man, Hispanic, Native American man, woman, and child. The choice is yours, but the excuse is gone.
Yesterday somebody betrayed my son, right? He was locked up. One of his best friends did something for him. And what the point that I'm trying to make is, within our own culture, we need to sit down and take care of, from a parenthood, from a child, the child is born. Parents need to educate and teach their children their history, teach their children how to love one another, teach families how to stick together. Teach within our own culture. We have a division within our own self. We got Black Americans and West Indians. We got Caribbean and Central America division. And we're all black people from different parts of the world, but yet we are divided. A house divided cannot stand. We cannot start to educate another people on what they should do until we do what we ought to do. And in our house, we got to, you can't tell me who I must love and who I must not love until you show me your household and show me what's going on from all your family, whether they're good, they're bad, they're evil, show me the work you're doing in your household. The Bible says, fix your own household before you fix somebody else. People ask me, why you're not going to church?
Now, real quick, you see how they just gassing her up? They just gassing her up, and the more they fuel her up, the louder she get, the more emotional she get, the more passionate she get about how she feels. She ain't brought out one fact. She ain't brought out nothing, no history, no scriptures. When a brother asked for the scripture, she ain't had time for that. She didn't have time. But she getting gassed up, brothers clapping. What does that remind you of? The Christian church. And that's how we get seduced. That's how we get seduced. Because everywhere, you think the Christian church is just behind them walls. At First Ebenezer, Christian Baptist, Methodist, Episcopal, all of that Baptist church. You think the church is right there. No, the Christian church is all around you. The Christian church is all around you. And when you get to talking about how you feel as opposed to what the Most High said, the world will love you, like we just read in the scriptures. If you were of the world will love his own. In John chapter 15, the world will love his own. So this sister is a full Christian. She went into hyper Christian mode, and she getting fueled up, gassed up. They clapping for her. They supporting her and all of that. You see the vein popping out her neck. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. She just gassed up. That's the Christian church. But what is what she's saying? And look at how she lessened the debt. She lowered the debt for herself. She lowered the bar for herself and raised the bar for Captain Tazariak. She said, I don't, because we running out of time, Salakia. I'm gonna run it back just a little bit. And y'all can listen to how she lessened the debt for herself. But she raised the bar for Captain Tazariak and the requirements for somebody to listen to him and take the facts that he's putting out there for anybody to take him serious. These are the requirements that he got to meet. And the crazy part about it is he's meeting them. The brothers in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is meeting the requirements that she's putting out there for him. But she's not holding herself to the same standard that she's putting for him. She's trying to give herself an excuse. She's trying to give you an excuse. And that's the seduction of the Christian church.
Families how to stick together. Teach within our own culture. We have a division within our own self. We got Black Americans and West Indians. We got Caribbean and Central America division. And we're all black people from different parts of the world, but yet we are divided. A house divided cannot stand. We cannot start to educate another people on what they should do until we.
Now listen to how she raised the bar for Captain Tazariak, and not even realizing these are things he's already done.
Do what we ought to do, and in our house we gotta. You can't tell me who I must love and who I must not love until you show me your household and show me what's going on from all your family, whether they're good, they're bad, they're evil. Show me the work you're doing in your household.
She said, "You can't tell me who I must love and who I must not love," even though he's not talking about. He's not saying what he thinks and what he feels. And this is the thing about right, sis. Like, she thinks she right, but she wrong all day, because she talking about how she feels. She just so passionate. And that's the seduction of the Christian church. Like, they get you all gassed up, and you think because you get this warm and fuzzy feeling inside yourself that everything you say is from the Lord, when nothing that you said is from the Lord, man. But she think that what she's saying is so right because she just getting they clapping for her and that's right and all of that. Like, it sounds like that's the seduction of the Christian church, man. And she ain't said nothing. She hasn't said nothing, and she ain't addressed nothing that Captain Tazariak said. I just don't want I don't want that to, I don't want to let that slide. But she ain't addressed nothing that Captain Tazariak said. But she's just speaking from the heart. Because God knows her heart. Yeah, God knows your heart, all right. He knows it's deceitful. He knows this desperately wicked. But she raised the bar for Captain Tazariak real quick. She said, show me your household and the families and your entire family. So all of your family, your wives, your children, your aunts, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews. Show me all of your family. Show me. She want him to run the pedigree down. Your great grandfather, your grandfather, your you know what I mean? All of that. She wants you to run it down. That's the bar that she's trying to hold him to, like the Christian church does. And the Christian church tries to make serving the Lord so impossible, so that you can have an excuse to continue doing your BS. But she don't even realize, first of all, he's doing all of these things. And second of all, let's see how she lowers the bar for herself.
The Bible says, but fix your own household before you fix somebody. People ask me, why you're not going to church? I say I spent the last 6 months looking at my own household. For the last.
Now she running down her credentials. You know, Christians love running down their credentials, right? I did this and that and the third. I'm doing this and I did this and I went to this school and blah, 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 blah. So she running down her credentials. Just listen real quick.
Last 6 months I ain't go to nobody church. I look at my son, see what they're doing on the street. I look at my daughter, how successful she is, and I spent my time educating and teaching each of my children to let them understand that they should.
Hold up. Now, Captain Tazariak, the bar that she's held him to was, you got to fix your entire lineage. You got to fix your entire family. You got to fix your entire nation before you can tell me that I can't look. She loves white women or white men. Salakia. She's going home to a white man. Or she's going home to it's a box of Newport 100s waiting for her. She probably walked around the corner and sparked up. Or she got, you know what I mean, whatever, you name it. But she's trying to make it so, like, the Christian church will try to make it so impossible, or make it seem like it's so impossible to serve the Lord. So that, you know what I'm saying, brothers like Captain Tazariak, you know what I mean? He'll, you know what I'm saying, brothers like General Mahaiman, Commanding General Yohana, and all the brothers that he's raised up. You know what I mean? All the work that we do in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, you sisters too. The Christian church, you know what I mean? You name it. Anybody outside of these walls is the Christian church. But anybody outside these walls, they'll try to make it seem like the work that you do in here is not enough. It'll never be enough. It don't matter how many brothers you get off of drugs. It don't matter how many sisters you get up out that strip club or off that pole or off that strip, off that you know what I mean? It don't matter how many mothers that you help raise their children. It don't matter how many disputes you settle within your community. It don't matter how upright you are as a man. It'll never be enough to the Christian church, because their whole point is to make an excuse for you. But this is the standard that, like, she's saying that Captain Tazariak gotta heal his entire nation before she can tell him that she can't go home and blow that white man's rod. But for her, all she got to do is just look at her children. Just worry about her children. It's like, I make sure my children ain't in the streets. I make sure my children, you know what I mean, my daughters ain't whores. I make sure my children this, that, and the third, according to her own standards, according to how she feels. That's Christianity for you. And in all of that, you can tell that she didn't hear nothing that Captain Tazariak said. You can tell. That's the Christian church. And their whole point is to give you every excuse. Salakia. Let's get Luke chapter 16, verse 27 real quick. And this is the spirit that this sister is in right now. This is the spirit that the Christian church is in right now. So this is the story of Lazarus, right, and the rich man. Now, to paraphrase, because we don't have very much time, Lazarus was a poor man, you know what I mean, covered in sores. He was, you know what I mean, in agony, right? This rich man could have easily helped him, but he chose to walk past him every day in the gates, and both of them died. Lazarus was taken into the bosom of Abraham, and the rich man was sent to, you know what I mean, a very difficult, you know what I mean, state to live in. Now, in this hellish condition that the rich man was in, he's like, look, this is unbearable. He's experiencing the punishment for our iniquity. You know what I mean? We get judged, like the scriptures say. You know what I'm saying? We get judged. We go up, or we live our life. We die, like it says in Ecclesiastes, I believe. King Solomon's breaking down reincarnation. It says you live your life, you die, you go into the earth, you get judged, you go up to the Most High, you get judged, you come back down, and you carry out your punishment in the earth, right? That's reincarnation in the Bible. All right. So that's what this is talking about. So verse 27, this book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 27. He's saying, then he said, I pray thee, therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. So him realizing that, yeah, you know what I'm saying, you have to serve out that punishment for the life that you lived on this earth. You know what I mean? You get judged, you die, you go into the earth, you go up to the Most High, you get judged, you come back down, and you get reincarnated to serve out the punishment for your previous life. So he's like, look, just, you know, I'm already living, I'm already, you know what I'm saying, doomed to serve out my punishment. Just send Lazarus, this dead man, to my brothers so that they can know that you real. Verse 29, Abraham saith unto them, they have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. See, this is the spirit of the Christian church. Like this is the spirit of this sister right here. Like she needs to see some sort of extremely huge miracle, or she need to see something that she thinks is just supernatural. It's just like she need to see some something levitate or something like that before she need to see all of a sudden, you know what I mean, Captain Tazarek snap his fingers and magically every Black, Hispanic, and Native American homosexual is no longer a homosexual, or he need to see somebody snap their fingers and all of a sudden every drug addict is no longer a drug addict. That's what she need to see before she can submit to the Most High and change her way. You know what I'm saying? Become a new creature and serve the Lord. That's what she needs to see. Otherwise, she's going to hold on to her excuse. And this is the spirit that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are in. Like, before we actually come and serve the Lord, we need to see somebody raised from the dead. We need a zombie to come up out the ground and talk to you. We need the Lord to talk to you and whisper in your ear and talk to you personally before you put down that blunt, before you stop getting on OnlyFans, before you stop sleeping with these prostitutes, before you stop doing this, that, and the third. You fill in the blank. But that's the spirit of the Christian church, man. That's why the Christian church don't fix nobody, because they give you an excuse. And even if you, and this is so heavy, verse 29, Abraham saith unto them, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. The cold part about it is the Most High already gave you what you was looking for. You need prophets to tell you the truth and to teach you right from wrong, to teach you how to serve the Lord and how to avoid these punishments that this rich man is enduring, this torment that he's enduring, which is the condition of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today. He's telling you how to avoid this situation. He said he gave you Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. And verse 30, he say, nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. Verse 31, and he said unto him, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. And this is the cold part about it. The Most High gave you Moses. He gave you the prophets. He rose them from the dead. The prophets that you see today in the ISUPK are the prophets from old, or the prophets from back in the Bible that you say ain't got nothing to do with black people, or are dead, and that was back in the day. No, those prophets are here in the earth today telling you the exact same thing that you ignored. The same generation of vipers that these prophets taught are here today doing the exact same thing that they did in the past, scourging the prophets and ignoring the prophets and persecuting them from city to city and ignoring, ignoring the truth. It's the same thing. So, this miracle, the supernatural thing that you're looking for, it's already happened. It's right here in front of you. It's right here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. It's under Commanding General Yohana. Commanding General Yohana is doing the thing that you're looking for to try to to give yourself an excuse to try to fix. Cause you know that this ain't the Walking Dead. You know zombies coming out the earth to, tell you, to tell you to change your life. That's not finna happen. And if it did happen, you gonna defend yourself. You gonna be freaked out. You gonna defend yourself. You gonna kill that zombie coming out the earth. So what you thinking is gonna happen, and what you need, what you claim that you need to be able to get rid of your excuse, not only is it ridiculous, but it's not gonna help you. It's not gonna get rid of your excuse. That's not what's gonna happen. Because you're going to find another excuse to get high. But the priests and prophets in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we sent here to teach the truth according to the Bible since 1969 to remove your excuses. You don't have no more excuses. And if you still hanging on to excuses, then you're that generation of vipers. And you're going to continue to come back into this earth and serve out the punishment for your wickedness, for rejecting the prophets. And eventually it's going to be too late. It ain't going to be no more. It ain't going to be no more, coming back and and serving out your punishment in this life. Because once Christ come back, he's coming to take heads off. He's coming back with a sword. Is there any questions in the chat before we close out? Last second, I'll give it a second. Or any questions or comments, you know what I mean, before we get out of here. You know what I mean, brothers and sisters, you know what I mean, whatever city you in, find out whoever's the camp leader in your zone, get in class, get in all black. Because the person that you was in the world, that old man, that worldly name, that name you got, whatever name it is, that brother got a warrant, that sister got a warrant for their arrest, for punishment. And what you want to do is come into school and clean yourself up and kill that old person. Kill that old drug addict. You know what I mean? Whoever, you know what I'm saying? Brothers don't realize that getting high, you know what I'm saying? You smoking every day and you feel like you know what I'm saying? You even on your last couple dollars and you really juggling whether you're going to find yourself something to eat or whether you're going to get some marijuana or you going to pay for you a prostitute or whatever the case is. You're a drug addict. And you know what I mean? If you want to, just get yourself a flyer, you know what I mean? Get yourself the number, find out who's the camp leader in your zone, get in class, get in all black so that you can kill that old man and become a new creature. But with that, we're going to say Majum, which means to stand. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Individual Majum Shabbat, Majum, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Braktum, Yajimata. Sorry, we're going to turn to the sisters, give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Individual Majum Shabbat, Majum, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Latam Ba Shem Yahushua, Yajimata, dismissed.